Good evening, everyone. We are back once again, continuing our Don Bluth retrospective. We've almost finished now. We've only got one more week after today's review. Today, obviously, you can see from the title below, we are talking about Bartok the Magnificent, which is the direct-to-video film, actually, and it's a prequel. I went all my life thinking it was a sequel. I found out today it's a prequel, which was released in 1999, 2 years after Anastasia.
Which should have been called Bartok the Bold.
Just because of the alliteration of the B, yeah, for no other reason.
Yeah, no other reason, just Bartok the Bold.
Bartok the Magnificent, a film that's often overlooked, probably down to the fact that it is direct-to-video, but it does star apparently a fan favorite character from the previous film. We talked about Anastasia last week, how it's Don Bluth's most financially successful movie. It kind of goes without saying that 20th Century Fox, which was the animation studio, which was the company that Don Bluth was working for at the time, they'd probably want to cash in on the Anastasia hype by having the funny, plucky sidekick character, the comic relief character, helm his own movie. Whether that was a good choice for a protagonist, I'm sure we'll discuss that tonight when we're talking about the film. Had you ever seen this one? Because I know that you mentioned Anastasia, you'd watched a bunch of times, but was this a brand new first time viewing for you?
Yeah, brand new first time, but I enjoyed it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because I really didn't think you were going to take to this one, I must admit.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was fun. It was whimsical. It was good. Yeah.
It moves at a really, really fast pace, doesn't it? When I checked the runtime, it's 65 minutes, and that's with credits. And the credits pretty much goes through every single song in the soundtrack. So the credits are quite long for the movie. As a kid, you're just, short attention spans, whatever it is. You watch the movie, you appreciate it for what it is. But then as an adult, I'm like, oh, shit, this movie's moving quick. Where they have to go through location to location. There's barely any travel time. It's like all these places they travel to are right next door to each other. So, it moves at a great pace, though. It's about an hour long. And
it moves at a very fast pace.
I think it's a charming little film. I watched this quite a bit as a kid, and I don't know if I just bought this on a separate video, or I can't remember if they released some kind of Anastasia and Bartok the Magnificent combo pack of the two films together. I think they have released them subsequently on DVD and Blu-ray as kind of like a package deal with each other. But yeah, I don't remember much about the actual advertisement of this film, the advertisement or anything like that, or the marketing for the film. I just remember, boom, you go to the video store. Oh, look, I remember that character from Anastasia. This must be a new film with him in. And yeah, it's one that I watched quite a bit. I think I definitely gravitated more towards Anastasia. If you compare
people did.
Yeah. I think if you compare the animation between these two films, which is very unfair to do because one's, considerably large budget, theatrical release. This was, I actually don't know what the budget for this thing was.
The budget was 28 million.
Oh, so it was, yeah. Oh, 24 million.
24.8.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go. I knew there was an 8 involved.
Well remembered.
I thought it was 28.4. I was close. Anyway,
and Anastasia's budget was 140. No, 53. Sorry, double the budget. Sorry.
I thought the animation was good. I thought it was very good animation.
I think it's very inconsistent in this movie. There are some moments where the frame rate really stutters because you can clearly tell they're dealing with lower frames, lower quality animation. But then there's moments where some of the animation is really, really good. Stuff on Zozie the bear, for example, during that whole altercation at the beginning when he's like roaring and chasing after Bartok and whatnot. That animation looks really, really smooth. And there's some other stuff throughout the movie too. But then there's other bits where you can clearly tell they're trying to cut corners. Most notably the crowd shots. This is meant to be set in Moscow. And there's like 12 people who live there, because they can't have these big, sprawling wide shots like you get in Anastasia.
It's like an old video game, though, isn't it? Like in
Dragon's
Kingdom
Lair.
Hearts, when you're in the Colosseum and everyone's cheering for you, but there's no one around.
Yeah.
I always found that weird as a kid. I was like, but there's no one here. I was really confused. So yeah, it's kind of like that, really, isn't it?
Well, you mentioned video gamey. This film really reminds me of Dragon's Lair. The video games that Don Bluth did the animation for back in the 80s, which we watched a couple of cutscenes from. even like the levels that they're walking through when they leave Baba Yaga and they go to like the Arctic. Well, it's not the Arctic, but the frozen wastelands essentially, where they meet that ogre character, or the bit where there's oh god, I forgot all the names. What was Jennifer Tilly's called? Pilaf, that's it. Like the pink wit. I don't even know what that thing's meant to be, but Jennifer Tilly's character, they all feel very video gamey to me, and I quite like that. I think there is a charm to it. I like simple stories like this where he meets the witch and she's like, I've got 3 tasks for you. There's another film, I don't know if you've ever seen it, Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro. Very, very similar idea to that, where there's this magical creature, this faun, who tells the main character, you've got to bring back 3 items, and it will be very, very dangerous, and it will be perilous, and you got to bring them all back to me, one after the other.
Isn't that kind of like the 3 wise men?
What, just that there's a number 3 involved? I
like to imagine that they went on a perilous journey
to fetch all of the gifts. Oh, yeah. That's cool. That could be cool.
Yeah, they went on a proper, like, you know what I mean? They sold their souls to get those gifts. They fought dragons, and they used to have like, they all used to be like, you know, have like 5 arms and like 3 heads, but they all became like normal because they got their heads cut off and shit. And I like to believe that that's what happened.
I mean, that's a spin-off just waiting to be written right there. Maybe that's a chapter that got removed from the Bible. Who knows? But yeah, so it's just a strange little film how this came to be. Ultimately, there's a few people returning. Not to mention, of course, Don Bluth and Gary Goldman returning once again to direct. You've got Hank Azaria doing the voice once again as Bartok, but you've also got Kelsey Grammer returning, who was in Anastasia. He did the voice of Vlad in Anastasia, and he had that song in the film as well. Very, very short song. But
thingy, Kelsey Grammer's brother from Frasier, is that his real life brother or not?
That is Kelsey Grammer.
No, but the dude that plays his brother in Frasier.
Oh, I've never watched it, so I don't
think that's it's just the only reason I say that is because I feel like it's not, but he played Sideshow Bob's brother in Simpsons. That's why I was like, I feel like, is it like, was that just a reference to Frasier, or was it like they actually, I don't know.
I've absolutely no idea at all. So yeah, I mean, he plays Zosie in this. So I quite like Zosie's character. I think it's a really good voice to match as well. And one of my favorite songs in the film is A Possible Hero. That's where Kelsey Grammer gets to sing again. There's a couple of little references maybe to Anastasia. There's a moment where when he brings the potion to Ludmilla at the end, after he's gone on all of his quests, there's a monk in the group of people that Bartok goes to. It looks a little bit like Rasputin. It is a bizarre film, though, that, you know, it's building up Bartok as this hero, this champion of the people. And then ultimately, as this is a prequel, he's going to become an immortal bat who becomes an evil sidekick to Rasputin, who wants to wipe out the Romanov, well, and does wipe out the Romanov family. So yeah. Strange moral lesson, I think, for this character.
I like the character of Bartok, though. I think he's fun. I think, you know, I like him as a main character. I wasn't sure how he would hold up, but he does.
See, there's some nice things. There's some like good moral lessons in there, I guess, for the younger audience. I think this is definitely geared a lot more to the younger audience with this one. But I can't help but think he just grates on me after a while. And I think that's when you take the comic relief character who works as a side character to make a main movie, to have them be the protagonist of that whole film. The charm of Bartok wears off quite quickly for me. So I don't think he's awful. I think he's fine. But I think all of the other characters are way more interested. I would have liked this film to be, not even to have Bartok in it. I would have liked this to be sort of an original film and maybe have Zosie the bear as the main character. Because I definitely prefer his character way more than Bartok in this. No, and he's fine. Bartok's fine, but
no, I like him. I like his design. I think a design goes a long way for a main character as well. They've got to have a certain look, and I think he works really, really well with how he looks, with how he sounds. I think the voice works. I think, yeah, let's say for main characters, they have to have a certain aesthetic to them, don't they?
Yeah. I really do like a lot of the backgrounds in this, and I like how it feels very folklore-ish, especially with the stuff with Baba Yaga, Russian folklore and everything like that. It does feel very whimsical, I think you mentioned at the beginning, and quite a charming little film. So you do have the whole Baba Yaga's house, which is on top of two giant chicken legs. You have the Iron Forest, and you have all of these cool environments. It's just bizarre to me that all of these environments are right next to each other. There's moments where you just kind of go along with it, because if you try and think about, well, how did Bartok get from A to B so quickly? The whole thing just falls apart, especially when he brings Pilaf back to Baba Yaga. He's not allowed to, so she's like attached to this giant boulder, isn't she? Which he kind of breaks off through various like winches and pulleys and ropes and whatnot. But he has to drag that stone all the way back to Baba Yaga, which is meant to be this perilous quest, which takes probably days. But it happens between scenes, so everything feels very claustrophobic and right next to each other.
Do you wonder whether this movie was banned in Ukraine?
It was a different time. It's not on Disney Plus. Anastasia is now, even though they did take it off for a while, as we mentioned last week. But this movie is not.
Do you know who my favorite character is though? I can't remember his name, but you know, in the place with the thing and the
in the place with the thing.
You know where like the floor gets really really hot.
Oh, Obley, the retarded ogre person, blacksmith. Yeah, he's cool. I like that design.
That was a really cool, and I think the animation looked brilliant in that. That was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, no, I like all of the characters in this. Really, some of the side characters and whatnot. And it's a fun little fairy tale romp between all these three things, even down to the fact that we fight a dragon at the very end of the film, which is hinted at in the opening or one of the opening songs.
Dragons, that's good.
We'll talk about that dragon transformation scene later on, because that scene's a whole thing with this. I think that scene is the thing that's remembered the most about this film. Actually, it's definitely head scratching, that's for sure. One of my favorite characters is Tim Curry playing another CGI bad guy, just like Forte.
Yeah, do you know what? It reminded me of that, not just because of Tim Curry, but the look. The style, because that was because like you say, the 3D with the 2D, that the whole thing was very very. When did the Enchanted Christmas come out?
Oh, that's a good point. Let me have a look.
Must have been the 90s, 96.
Do you think it was no? Oh, 97. You weren't far off. You weren't far off.
I was very close. Not bad.
97, so it was the same year that Anastasia came out, and we mentioned in that they're experimenting with digital backgrounds and digital elements to the film.
Didn't this movie, didn't it come out the same year as Tarzan?
Yes.
So this was the up against Tarzan kind of thing.
There is a lot of CGI animation in this film that I noticed a lot more this time around than I did when I was a kid. The 2D stuff looks great, but definitely like the wagon that he rides around on is pretty much always CGI, I think. A lot of stuff in the environments, and of course the skull. Tim Curry is just always great. He's got such a good villain voice, hasn't he? Well, that's why he always plays villains.
He doesn't have a good villain voice anymore.
He's still working, bless him.
He's a bit like
kills me. It kills me. It really does. It really does.
It might kill him soon. I'm done.
Are you done? Yeah. This is Tim fucking Curry we're talking about here. He's a national goddamn treasure. Yeah, I really like the character. And again, the whole element of bringing in riddles. He's like, do you like riddles? To get past the door, you've got to answer some riddles. I'm like, oh, that's like the Hobbit. Or there's probably a lot of other examples as well in fairy tales where you have to answer like a riddle or a puzzle or something like that in order to get somewhere. That was like a very video gamey part as well, I thought, getting into Baba Yaga's.
It kind of adds that kind of because the thing about movies and stuff is obviously they're not interactive stories, like you're just watching the story, whereas a video game, like, because it's interactive and it's like you have to progress, like, do you know what I mean? A video game is the only thing that will punish you for not doing okay. Do you know what I mean? Like you never watch a movie and then it stops halfway through and go, right, what's the main character's name? Nope. And it turns it off because it's like, you got it wrong. Like, do you know what I mean? That doesn't happen. So it kind of, having that really, it kind of gives you something to think about whilst the characters are doing it, but it kind of puts you in it as well, you know?
Yeah. So the three tasks that we have in this film, we have that he has to retrieve Pilaf. We haven't talked about Pilaf. Jennifer Tilly's character. You like the Chucky films? What did you think to her character in this? What is she? What is her creature? Because she kind of looks like a dog, but she isn't, and then she's like an alien thing.
I like to think of her as there's something else I've got in my mind which she is like, but I can't remember where it's from.
She reminds All Dogs Go to Heaven. The pink dog who's at the pearly gates. That's what she reminds me of.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Lilo and Stitch series. There was a dog one, it was a dog, but it was an experiment. But it's basically a dog. It reminds me of that kind of vibe. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I haven't seen much of that series. I know Leroy. Is it Leroy? Was that from the show Leroy?
No, that was the movie Leroy and Stitch. But it reminds me of one of those anyway. But it was really cool.
Okay.
I like her voice. I really do. She's got a very unique voice, hasn't she? She's kind of like Jennifer Coolidge in the sense of it's her before. It's like there are some people where you just know.
I feel like the voice of Baba Yaga as well sounds like someone who did a voice in Anastasia. She sounds like, the one who runs the orphanage. And she's like, Anya, you go straight ahead and you go to the fish factory. Like I feel like that must be the same. You know what? I can check. I have the power of the internet right in front of me.
Anya, that's a very European name, isn't
it? She plays old woman and yes, she did. Yeah, it's the same voice. Her song, Someone's in My House Tonight. How much did that sound like A Friend Like Me from Aladdin?
Do you know what? I thought that. And there was another thing I thought it sounded like, but I couldn't remember. I think, yeah, because I made that comparison in my head, but that's when I then thought back to Thumbelina and the Indiana Jones theme. And I was like, it's another thing like that.
No, it was like, wah, 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 ba-da, wah, wah, wah.
Is it just me, or does Bartok look like the brain in Pinky and the Brain?
A little bit. I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit. And he looks like I don't know if you watch Digimon, but the third season of Digimon, there's a little Digimon that's like this little white one with big ears. It looks like Bartok, but has this little like red diamond in its head. And it reminds me of that.
Vaguely. I think I probably
can't remember its name, but it reminds me of that. And it flies with its ears and it can't digivolve, and it's pretty useless.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not useless because I think it helps them digivolve. But it's just, yeah.
Got some comments from Bathtime. He says, "Oh my god, it's the lads," and then says, "Tell Dale about your stream last night. It was one of the funniest things I've seen for ages." Well, I'm glad you had a good time, Bathtime. I was stressed as fuck after that stream. I still am.
Did you accidentally rape a toddler or something? That's where my head went. I don't know. That's what would make you stressed.
I ain't gonna ask any follow-up questions to that, my guy. It was a heated Star Wars debate. It wasn't a heated Star Wars debate until it was for the final 45 minutes of the stream, and I couldn't get a word in edgeways. I was trying to argue my case. I was trying to retort certain points, and there was just no way.
Did someone defend the sequel trilogy?
He does actually, yes. Last Jedi is his second favorite Star Wars movie.
But that's not okay, because Last Jedi is not a Star Wars movie.
I quite agree.
So it doesn't make sense. What's the first one?
Empire, I think, is his favorite.
That's fine.
And then
that's fine.
Last Jedi. And he says someday people will become wise and wise up to the fact that of the majesty that is The Last Jedi, and how it's an underrated classic, and people will come round to it.
I mean, I won't, but
the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a very heated debate, and it was very, very stressful. And it didn't need to be stressful until someone made it stressful. JDC says, seeing that this movie looks rather high budget for a direct-to-video film, do you think it stands higher than Land Before Time sequels and most Disney sequels, since it has Bluth's handprint on it? That's a good point I wanted to make, actually, in that this is also Don Bluth's first sequel that he's made. I mean, sequels have been made to his films, but this is a sequel / prequel continuation, whatever you want to call it, that has Don Bluth's direct involvement in it. We mentioned that the animation definitely does take a dive from stuff like Anastasia that came before, but I think it does look pretty good. It's been a long time since I've seen the Land Before Time sequels in my mind. So in my mind, I watched these films when I was a kid. I still think the animation looks really good in them. However, I could go back to it, especially after watching Land Before Time 1, and go, oh, Jesus Christ, that animation's dropped off a cliff. So I don't know. I'd have to go back and
animation
rewatch
didn't
them.
drop off a cliff. This animation was great.
Yeah, I think it's there are moments where it does look brilliant, especially for direct-to-video. I think the music in it's very good too, overall. Doesn't hit the heights of Anastasia, but it is the same songwriting team that did all the music for Anastasia. I think people understood what the assignment was with this film. I get the impression that it's direct-to-video. It's not going to be anything great, but we can have some fun with it. We can make it like a nice, fun little fairy tale adventure film. You don't have to think about it too much. And there's some nice songs in there. It's like some of the better Disney sequels, which aren't many, I will grant you, but stuff like Lion King 2, Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, where they have their moments. They're doing the best with the materials that they have. And there's some quite nice songs in there too. Do we talk about
Beauty and the Beast 2 is one of the better sequels.
Yeah. That's probably my top 3 Disney sequels. That, Lion King 2, and I kind of want to say Lion King 3 or Lion King 1.5. I think it's called sometimes. That's got some funny moments in it as well.
I liked the second Aladdin. It was all right.
Oh, Return of Jafar, yeah. See, that was another movie where I always remembered that film looking incredible in my head, and then I watched it again, and the animation's really, really not good.
And I mean, if you want to get picky, I mean, like fucking Rescuers Down Under. That's the sequel. That's a sequel and a half.
Mm-hmm. With direct-to-video sequels, though, different category, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I'd say Beauty and the Beast is the best though.
Yeah, there's genuinely some beautiful music in that film. Music that I would say could rival the original film as well in some respects, with some of the songs in there. Bath Time says it was about if Revenge of the Sith was the 3rd book in a prequel sequel. Oh God, what? Yeah, that was
in a prequel sequel.
Not to derail our talk on Bartok the Magnificent too much. Essentially, what I was arguing was that the book, the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, the events are playing out, and okay, you've watched Phantom Menace, you've watched Attack of the Clones, right? There's a line in the book where an exchange of dialogue where Obi-Wan says to Anakin towards the beginning. It's during the bit where the clones are getting picked off, and Anakin's like, "I'm going to go back and help them out." And Obi-Wan says, "Anakin, you can't save everyone." And Anakin looks really sad, and he looks down, and he says, "Don't remind me." What is that in reference to in Anakin's story? He says, "Anakin, you can't save everyone." Thank you. Yes. And you get that, right? From that simple line of dialogue. You've got it. You know that he's talking about the mom. Nice little subtlety. Well, then the author goes on for paragraphs after that saying, Anakin was really sad because he thought back to the time where he went to the Tusken Raider camp and his mom died, and he was very sad, and he had to kill all of the Sand people. He was very sad that his mom died in his arms, and it was a very, very long time ago, a few years ago in Attack of the Clones, when that very sad thing happened. Anakin was now very sad and angry that he couldn't save everyone. And it just goes on. I described it as a hat on a hat. You got everything you needed originally, and then the author just kind of talks down to you. That was what I was arguing. And I said, because it's Revenge of the Sith, because it's episode 3, it infers that you know what happened in episode 1 and episode 2 before you pick up a copy of the book that is episode 3. And someone was making the argument that just because it's the 3rd book in a series doesn't make it... This is not the 3rd in a trilogy, was the argument. This is the 2nd book in a new trilogy of books, where there's a book before it called Labyrinth of Evil, and there's one after it called Dark Forces Rising or something. I don't even know what it's called. And I was like, but it's got episode 3 in the title.
Well, this is true. It's got episode 3, and also it's one of those things where, like, imagine writing a Star Wars book, right? And it's like set after episode 6 or whatever, and they have to tell you about how Darth Vader is actually Luke Skywalker's father and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like, well, you're being a Star Wars fan, I'd kind of gather that. Like, do you know what I mean? You think you would know. It's kind of like that. Like, it's episode 3. And yes, technically there would be some argument to, well, it's a book in the blood, like on a technicality. But at the same time, it's like, but you wouldn't just read those and be like, well, I've never watched a Star Wars movie, 1 or 2. Like, it would be, and if you had, why ruin it with that paragraph? You'd be like, okay, what does it mean? So yeah.
That was my argument. Anyway, this argument proceeded to go on for a further 45 minutes. Voices were raised. I was quite literally banging my head off this desk because I just couldn't get a word in edgeways to argue my case. And it was a very frustrating experience.
Wow.
Let's see. Carl says, the more I watch The Last Jedi, the worse it gets.
I'm not... Do you know what? I obviously, I watched it when it came out. What scene did I watch from it the other night? Oh yeah, when Luke was talking to Yoda, just because I was just like, I was just trying to analyze, like, look at Luke, and I was just like, I just want to see this, like, all the things that went wrong with him, and I was like, there was just so much, like, it just shouldn't have happened. But I did watch that scene the other day, and I was like, that just all of it just shouldn't have happened. Just none of it. It just didn't happen.
I agree. Jake says, ever saw Robots? No, I've never seen that film actually.
I did. It was all right. I don't remember much of it now, though.
I remember the cast that's in it. I know that Ewan McGregor... Oh, there's another Star Wars link. Ewan McGregor voices the main character. I think Robin Williams is in it as well, isn't he? I think, as one of the robots.
I have no idea. I can't remember. But I remember the movie.
Bath Time says, yo, I've just seen a trailer for some Predator anime series on Hulu. He's fighting Viking, samurai, and Second World War pilots. It looks decent. Yeah, so there's a new Predator film coming out and an anime series as well. There's two new Predator projects coming out.
But there's Snow White and the Seven Ninjas.
I didn't know this, but I'm glad I do now.
And the Seven Samurai, it's one of them. And I was trying to find Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and it came out with Snow White and the Seven Ninjas, and I was like, that's a thing? Okay.
We still haven't done our review on Snow White yet, have we? We haven't forgotten.
It's going on Disney Plus very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be available.
Movie night. There we go.
And we will do it.
JDC says, when it came to how the animation was handled in Disney's The Return of Jafar, it was outsourced to 2 countries, with the first half being done in Australia and the second half being done in Japan. I didn't know that, actually. I didn't know it was outsourced to that many places. I wonder if there is a discrepancy maybe between the animation, if you can see the change, if you can see which companies handled which bits. That'd be interesting to see. Carl says, did you see the prices for Ian McKellen at For the Love of Fantasy? Will you be going? I have seen the prices. I've been quoted a price for all 3 posters. And Carl, if you've seen the prices, you know how much we're talking, right? So yeah, I'm trying not to think about it, but it is going to happen. And yes, I will.
Is it more than Carrie Fisher cost?
Considerably. Yes, it is. It's a lot. It's an egregious amount, which I will not say because I'm still trying to process it in my mind how much it's going to be. But it's going to be my one chance to do it. So yeah, but yes, I will be going. I've got my tickets booked for the weekend, and they've got a load of Lord of the Rings guests going, so it's going to be a very, very expensive weekend, which I'm still trying to. I don't know. I'm gonna have to start like a fucking OnlyFans or something, sell feet pics to like get enough money together for this Comic-Con. It's going to be insane. It's going to be fun.
There will be a market for it. There will be a market.
There will be. Speaking of weird fetishes and shit, this was a segue. Let's talk about the character of Ludmilla in this movie. Catherine O'Hara does the voice of Ludmilla. It just sounds like she's having so much fun playing this character. Really, really fun. I was going to say like a really animated performance, which is kind of redundant considering we're talking about an animated movie. But I love the way that the character's animated and some of her mannerisms. And I feel like probably what she did in the recording studio for her voice maybe translated over to some of the things that they get her doing in the animation as well. But there's this very, very bizarre scene, which is kind of this this notorious scene for this film now. And it's during the song The Real Ludmilla, where she drinks the potion in very excruciating detail, actually. You know, when she's like swigging back this potion and it's all like very up close and personal to her mouth and she's drinking it. That's the first thing that's weird. Then throughout the musical number, she goes through a bit of a transformation, doesn't she? Into a dragon. And this
a weird looking spotty, yeah.
Well, it's more so the nature of the transformation. It feels very, very fetishized, and a lot of people have drawn reference to, and it does. I think it absolutely does. So whoever was on the animation team for this particular sequence, yeah, there's got to be at least 10 different fetishes throughout this entire musical number. So it starts off and she grows the tail. right? Now she's got like a big ass, and then it's the thighs, and then there's this moment where her tits just like grow really huge, and I'm like, is this a kids film? Because this is,
imagine that today.
This is pushing it. This is yeah, it's, I just thought it was worth mentioning because it's a bizarre sequence, and it does remind me of some of the Dragon's Lair stuff in this moment, as I mentioned earlier as well.
Fair, it's quite anime, isn't it? Where it kind of crosses that border, but like it's still a kids thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which I always like. I like when things do that because it's kind of Animaniacs, isn't it? Where it's got the kind of, okay, adults will kind of enjoy. Do you know what I mean? I always do like that because it makes things more timeless, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, throughout the course of the song, she transforms into this dragon, straight up kills the people. So as she like descends down into the dungeon, there's like prisoners on a spiked floor on a platform, and she's riding this platform down as the prisoners are laying on the spikes, and the spikes are getting closer, like an Indiana Jones trap. And at the end, she just like body slams this platform, which crushes everyone underneath. Like, they're dead. All those prisoners are dead. She just wiped them all out right there. But I think her turning into the dragon at the end, it's, well, that's the message of the movie, isn't it? That you become what you are on the inside, and she was this tyrant, she was this dragon, and then just rages through the city. And it's very fairy tale like, again, like the Hobbit, with, you know, the dragons and everything there rampaging through the town. It's a good final boss, I think, for Bartok to take on at the end, and be the hero of the people in this small town of Moscow.
Yeah, where no one resides.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've talked about most of the main characters in this. Let's see. Oh, you've got the king, Ivan, as well, who just looks exactly like Dmitri did when he was a young boy, when he leads them through that passageway.
Yeah, he looks like, what's his name from Black Cauldron?
Oh, Taran? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, he reminds me of him put with Arthur, Sword and Stone.
Yes, yeah. There's a meme out there that Don Bluth only knows how to animate one human, and yeah, a little bit. He looks like.
Have you seen that thing about Toy Story? Everyone is Andy. Everyone is Andy. They're all the same person.
Well, how does that work?
Like, if you look at the models, they're all the same, but they'll put like different hair on them and stuff. Like, all the kids, when you go to like Andy's birthday party, they're all exactly the same models.
Yeah, but that was Toy Story 1. I mean, come on. Like, if you compare the animation in Toy Story 1 to like Toy Story 4, it's night and day.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, if you compare Toy Story 1 and Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
But still.
I remember when I think I came around yours, and you were, well, I didn't realize at the time you were playing Kingdom Hearts 3, but like Woody was on screen and Buzz, and I was like, I haven't seen this Toy Story movie. Which one's this? Oh yeah, shit! Wow,
that's how good it is. That's the thing. That's how mad the world is. But this is the thing. Imagine, because all that's 3D and you got Frozen as well. The thing is, that's literally just the same like models, pretty much. But when they have like Belle and all that, it's obviously 3D versions of the 2D characters. But that's the exact, just here's the characters.
Mm-hmm. JDC mentioned something. I just want to bring this up. He says Baba Yaga was hyped up as the antagonist, but she was actually benevolent, and yet we learn later that Ludmilla, aka the lesser XP of Disney's Maleficent, has been the antagonist all along. There are quite a lot of Sleeping Beauty vibes, actually. Now you mentioned that, her design is quite similar to Maleficent, I would say, and then you, of course, you got the dragon transformation at the end as well. Not done in so much excruciating detail as it is in Bartok, but
I think the witch reminds me of the witch from Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah,
and the, what's her name, Madam Mim? Is it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
there you go.
Sword the Stone. But I quite like that, because I think in folklore there are lots of different depictions of Baba Yaga, and I think she is depicted as a witch sometimes who steals children during the night. And then there are other interpretations of the character where she is more benevolent and sort of this goodly witch character, if you will. And they do both in this film. They have what we later find out to be one of the guards masquerading as Baba Yaga when he steals Ivan and puts him in the tower. But then you also like Baba Yaga. She's quite hard edged, but she does have a softer side. There's the bit where Bartok makes her cry when he calls her ugly, and no one loves her, and that's why she lives alone. And she starts crying. I mean, it's probably true, but then yeah, she's got a good heart to her, I think. So I like that. I think this film has some good morals for kids, very easy to understand, and there's some good messages behind it, I think, overall.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we could talk about. It's a very, very short film, so
Thing
there's
is,
not really much
it
to
was
talk
surprisingly short. I mean, I already knew it was going to be 60 minutes or so. Like, I knew that before I watched it, but it was surprisingly short. I think because, like you say, because it goes through rapidly. It's quite like, do you know what I mean? It's very, very fast paced. But I don't think that's an issue with it. I don't think there's any issue with the runtime. I don't think there's any issue with the pacing. I don't think there's. It's weird because well, not as weird, but it is a movie where there's not really much issue with much of it. To be fair,
I think it's strange that Don Bluth and Gary Goldman had gone to 20th Century Fox Animation, as we mentioned last week, and they'd spent all of these millions building this brand new state-of-the-art digital animation suite for them to use, animation company. And as I mentioned, they made 20th Century Fox Animations, which was made specifically for Anastasia and for projects after that, but there wouldn't be many more Don Bluth ones. It feels weird that after the massive hype that was Anastasia, you'd expect them to come out swinging with something else, because Disney was still going strong at this point. What did we say this was? 1999? So they've still been going strong. The year previous they had Mulan, and then now they were moving on to Tarzan that same year. That their next project is just a direct-to-video prequel with the Bartok character. Well, they did Titan AE after that, and that lost.
No, I mean that's what I was thinking of. I was like, yeah.
You'd think that they'd come out with another big, theatre epic, wouldn't you?
No one really remembers Titan AE, do they?
No, no. I mean, I've never seen it. That is going to be our one from next week, so I guess we can say that. And that will be closing out our Don Bluth retrospective next week.
What does the AE stand for?
That's a very good question. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know. After Earth? I'm guessing it's After Earth, isn't it? It's, Titan AE.
Like anal euphoria. It's the first AE I could think of.
Your mind goes to some wonderful places, doesn't it?
I know.
Love it. So, I'm quite interested to see this film. It's very false advertising, because I don't believe the film is done in that kind of almost cel-shaded animation. When I picked this up and I saw the cover on, I think I bought this off Amazon, I was like, is that the right film? Was you know how sometimes you get like the Animatrix where they do those little tie-in movies? Yeah. And I thought, am I buying the right film with this? Because it's called the same. It says Don Bluth on it somewhere on the back. I was like, have I got the right one? But yeah, this is the right one. I haven't seen it, so that's going to be nice to finish off the retrospective.
When was the last time you bought a DVD in a shop?
In a shop? Christ. I think it was probably one of my Disney animated ones, maybe. It could have been. I think I bought Encanto and another one, which escapes me. I bought two.
When was the last time you bought a good DVD at a shop?
I can't remember the last time I bought a good one, but the last time I think it was at HMV in London. That was many, many years ago now when I got those two. Encanto. I think I bought Encanto, another Disney one, and John Carpenter's The Thing.
Encanto, shit.
Agreed.
I've never seen The Thing, though.
You need to watch that.
I've seen bits, but I've not ever actually watched it.
We need to watch that. We need to watch Inglourious Bastards. What other big film? I think there was another one that we said that you hadn't seen. Oh, The Lord of the Rings. You haven't seen the Lord of the Rings films?
Yeah. Those.
When it comes to showing you the Lord of the Rings, I don't care. I'm going to get on the hype train with every other YouTube channel out there. We're going to do first time viewing experience. I have to. I'm doing this for my own selfish purposes. Well, number one, I want you to experience the movies at some point, but I want the world to see.
Well, if I was to watch it this year, it'd be 24 years after the first one.
I want the world to experience. I want the world to see the Lord of the Rings with fresh eyes, through your eyes, Dale. That's what I want.
And me coming out going, "It's right."
I still don't know how we'd do the setup for that, because we need, if we're live streaming it, we need this, but then we can't have the audio from the film, and I'd need to edit it, so we need to just record us watching it, but then we'd need to watch it through like earphones with like a splitter, and you've got to watch it through earphones, and I don't want that to be your first time experience. I want it on like the best sound system possible. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need to do it that way, because I want people to see your reaction.
I swear there's like a thing you can do where like the mic is near you and it only picks up your voice. You can listen to all that, but it's not going to pick up anything behind you.
I mean, if we can get that, I would pay for the new microphones and stuff just to get that video out there, because
we should make posters, put them all over like Birmingham and like London, and be like Dale's first time. Sounds like a porno.
Bathsheim says The Thing is wicked. Yes, it is. Speaking of wicked,
but is wicked good? Is that wicked?
Speaking of wicked, we'll be having like the manliest of dates, won't we, when we go and see part 2 together?
Part 2, yeah, that's.
Well, I need to watch part 1. I need to watch part 1 first. I still haven't watched it.
It's long. It's long. It's almost 3 hours long.
It's Lord of the Rings length.
Yep.
JDC says, seeing that Ludmilla barely affects this movie's story as the antagonist, isn't it? Well, I mean, she does burn the town to the ground. I don't know. Do we think that she doesn't have much of a impact on the story?
No, I think she does. I think she does. Yeah, I do. I think she does.
I think it goes with the whole thing of, Ludmilla physically appears to be very beautiful, very regal, but is in actual fact a villain. It just goes with the whole, appearances can be deceiving. I think Bartok or Baba Yaga says that towards the beginning. It's just, real beauty is on the inside, and, it's all
Who's Baba Ganoush?
Baba Ganoush?
Baba. Yeah. I feel that's the thing. I've heard that name.
Baba Ganoush. It's a dish. Baba Ganoush.
Oh. I didn't know that. I just heard Baba.
Baba Ganoush, also spelled Baba Ganoush, is a Levantine appetizer consisting of finely chopped roasted eggplant, olive oil, lemon juice, various seasonings, and tahini. It looks quite nice, actually. It's like a dip. Yeah, it looks good. There you go. We'll watch Lord of the Rings and make some Baba Ganoush. Sorry, JDC says, seeing that Ludmilla barely affects this movie's story as the antagonist, isn't it obvious that design-wise, Maleficent was scarier and more memorable than any one of Bluth's least
Maleficent's
villains?
More scary and thingy than a lot of villains out there. Maleficent is great, and I like Maleficent. I like villains where it's like they're just cunts because they're cunts, and that's it. And that's all we want.
I mean, we both said that Maleficent's easily one of our favorite top tier Disney villains. We should do like a tier list actually of Disney villains, but she's definitely up there. I can't remember if Ludmilla does the Don Bluth villain gurn into the camera. A lot of his villains do this thing where they like lean into the camera and they have this very toothy grin. I don't remember Ludmilla doing that in this.
Who does that? Does Stromboli do that as well?
I remember the coachman does when he's like, they never come
with
back as
tooth?
boys. That is Stromboli, I think, isn't it? With the gold tooth?
I swear he does that, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Ludmilla does this, but I like how this movie reunites Tim Curry again with Don Bluth. He did the villain of he did the voice of villain. He did the voice of the villain Drake in Pebble and the Penguin. Did you get round to watching that one, by the way, in the end, Pebble and the Penguin?
Yeah, briefly.
Can I get your review on Pebble and the Penguin?
It was okay. In a nutshell, it was just not. It was more forgettable, I think, than the rest.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the more forgettable ones, because the thing is, a lot of them have staying power characters where. Because the thing about the thing is, I could say I prefer this. I prefer, Bartok, fucking hell, Bartok is Goku's dad. Bartok, and I prefer this, but it's also because I prefer the title character, and I think he has more staying power. But I think both movies are they feel slightly on par in the sense that they're both they feel the same sort of quality, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel this is more memorable because you have better characters like the retarded ogre and this is more fun.
I know this is the same character from Anastasia, obviously, but the two feel very much. It doesn't feel like this leads into Anastasia in any way with the character of Bartok. The fact that he's this, because I mean, this is set in the early 1600s. This is set a long time ago. So Bartok is apparently this immortal bat that's just existed throughout all of the centuries. But it hails him as a hero at the end of this, and then ultimately, you know, that he's not. He's just a villain's lackey in the next one, which I think is bizarre. So, yeah, so I always kind of just view this as its own thing. It's like a spiritual, I'll say successor, a spiritual predecessor, because it's a prequel. So you've got things, you've got the Bartok character that links the two. You've got stuff like Kelsey Grammer returning, as I mentioned, as well, as a different character this time, but still he ties it together. And of course, Don Bluth connection. But it's like its own separate entity, this movie, for me. I don't really compare it too much to Anastasia when I watch it.
I always see Last Crusade as its own thing because I just don't tie it to the other two because they're great and it's like, eh.
Well, it is like Temple of Doom, because for a long time I always thought that was a sequel, and then you find out when it's actually set, and it's like, oh, this is a prequel.
Oh, Temple of Doom. Sorry, I thought you meant fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark.
No.
Yeah.
So I guess, well, we'll do overall thoughts then. I think we've talked about pretty much all of the things in there.
I'd like to say 6.5 out of 10.
I think that's fair. Did I enjoy this as much as I did when I remember watching it as a kid? No, I'm a lot older now. I'm certainly not a lot wiser, but you have different perceptions of things, don't you? Or you remember things differently. I didn't hate this movie. I think that it doesn't overstay its welcome. I actually think 60 minutes is the perfect runtime for this. Would it have been nice to flesh the movie out a little bit more, show a bit more of the traveling between all of these places? Yeah, but we have to remember that this is a direct-to-video film, and they've got a certain budget to work with, maybe even a certain runtime to work with as well. And I think for what it is, I think that the messages behind the film are quite nice. I think there's a lot of colourful characters and interesting stuff on screen for younger audiences to gravitate towards this one. And yeah, it was a nice little trip down memory lane. Some of the musical numbers are quite fun. I like a lot of the performances of the characters in this, and the characters are all very colourful and vibrant with interesting designs to them. So yeah.
Do you remember when they did cheese and onion flavoured donuts?
No, that sounds absolutely disgusting.
Well, that was a thing at one point. I never tried them, but that was a thing.
We're talking about food again. What is your favorite type of donut? Do you like the ones that are just completely round with like the jam in the middle? Do you like the ones that are glazed or the ones with icing?
I've often asked myself that same question. But the one with the ring in the middle, one, you get more food out of it, so it's already winning. Like, do you know what I mean? There's no hole for some random reason where it's like there should be food there. And also you can do more with it. I feel like you can, as long as like you can have nice sugar, you can have like jam in the middle. You can put, for some reason, you can put custard in the middle, even though you shouldn't. It should always be sweet jam, stuff like that. Chocolate, again, you shouldn't put in the middle. Got nothing wrong with chocolate or custard, but you shouldn't put that in the middle of donuts. You put jam in the middle. You could like put. Do you know what I mean? Like you can do so much more. You could have like lemon curd in the middle, and that would be brilliant. Do you know what I mean? You could have like, you could do more with it. So I would have to say, yeah, those.
Wait, so you prefer the ones with the ring in the middle? Did you say?
No. The ones.
The ones that are just okay.
You can do more with them. The ones with the ring, weirdly, you do more with them. There are more variety of those. You can do more with the ones that have more, like, because when there's no hole in it, there's more food. You're eating more. So realistically, you would have to eat more ring donuts to survive and not die than you would the other ones. So realistically, the other ones, they're just more efficient. So
what do we call other ones? So there's ring donuts, and then what do we call like the
ring donuts and other ones?
Just round donut. Well, they're both round in a way. Oh, fuck it. I don't know. See, I'm on team ring donuts, but here's the differentiation. So you have the ones that you get in like the supermarkets where they've got the icing on, maybe a couple of hundreds and thousands on top. The ones like the Simpsons, you imagine Homer Simpson eating one, it's like the pink icing with hundreds and thousands.
The one of those, you want just the normal glazed ones, and they're nice, and that's what you want. And but you can do more with the big, like there's more food to it. There's more dough involved.
But there's also another kind of ring donut which brings back childhood memories. Seaside ones, the deep fried ones when you're on the beach and you got like the little paper bag and you've got like
the little
they hit the spot, man,
because they're really small and they're like proper
little sphincters.
Yeah, lovely. And you can like put your tongue in it like that. Those.
Welcome to our review for Bartok the Magnificent, ladies and gentlemen. JDC says, I don't think I care that much for Titan AE since I've seen it only twice in the past, but I can tell that Disney's space movie Treasure Planet is not only more colorful but more coherent. Treasure Planet's one of my favorite Disney films. You know, you can go back and check our retrospective that we did on that. I'm going into this with an open mind. It's kind of it's sad because it's the last Don Bluth film, and he's meant to be working on a new one, but that a Dragon's Lair movie that's been in production hell for, I want to say, over a decade, well over a decade. I feel like it's the prophesized final movie for Don Bluth, which we haven't seen anything from.
Tarantino's last movie, isn't it? It's going to go on for a while.
I think Tarantino will bring his last movie out way before we see Don Bluth's final one. It's meant to be a return to form for traditional animation. And here's the thing. If Don Bluth did come out with that movie as his big final film, his final hurrah, if you will, I think there is a gap in the market now. I think there is a niche. I think there are people clamoring for a return to form of traditional animation. I think he would. I think it's the perfect moment to bring it out if he does bring it out. But he's getting on. He's 87 years old. Is Don Bluth? I love him to bits, but I don't think that movie's getting made.
My nan was only 7 years older when she died, so he ain't got long left. So.
I mean, I've heard rumors that the company have changed it now and they're going to do a live action Dragon's Lair movie for Netflix with Ryan Reynolds. I mean, of course it's Ryan Reynolds. It's the person you call when you don't know who to cast as your comedic protagonist. It's like, let's get Ryan Reynolds in. What's he doing at the moment? Black. Or Jack Black. Yes. Yeah, those two. I really hope that film sees the light of day, but I'm not holding my breath. So yeah, I guess Titan AE may be our last Don Bluth film. Or I guess you could say his last animation effort would be the music video for the Scissor Sisters song Mary, which is a beautiful, beautiful song. I've never watched the music video before until right before this stream, actually. And I was watching it like, yeah, the main character actually looks almost identical to this guy. I mean, this guy looks identical to every other human male that Don Bluth's ever animated as well. But again, Don Bluth knows how to animate one human male character, and it's very, very well animated. But
is it kind of like how Desmond Child only knows how to write one song?
Exactly. And what a hell of a song that one song is. But
yeah,
Bath Time says Jam in the middle. I think he's Team Jam.
Yep, Team Jam. Let's go. Why don't we ever have marmalade donuts?
Oh, that's...
Why not? What's wrong with that? What's the difference between marmalade and jam?
I think jam is just a little bit more palatable, isn't it? Like you can always have more jam, but I feel like marmalade, you want to just a tasteful
Why can't you have
amount.
Lemon curd donuts with just lemon drizzling out?
That's too much. You go for a lemon curd tart. If you want some lemon curd action, go for a lemon curd tart.
I mean...
But then again, you can go for a jam tart, can't you? So I guess...
What if you have blueberry jam in that? You could do so many things with it. The ring donuts are just rings. They're just...
You should make your own donuts, Dale. There you go. That could be a business venture.
I know.
Dude, yes. Yeah, go for it.
They are just big polos. That's the thing about ring donuts.
There's a guy in Tamworth that's made millions off selling jacket potatoes. You could do Dale's Donuts.
I could, and just put anything with them. Like, you can just have any type of donut. If only I could make donuts.
YouTube is your friend.
I feel like making donuts is harder than making jacket potatoes. Jacket potatoes, you buy a potato, you put it in the microwave, you're done.
But he's taken the world. He quite literally has taken the world by storm. There's people from the States.
I know, but what I'm saying is the learning curve of making jacket potatoes is not as big as the learning curve of fucking making donuts. That's what I'm saying.
It's a fair point. Right, I think that'll do it for our review on Bartok the Magnificent. So if you haven't done so already, let us know your thoughts on Bartok. How do you think it compares to Anastasia? I mean, is there a comparison to it, really? But yeah, let us know your thoughts on this charming little movie, and we will be back next week for our final one, Titan AE. We do have plans for a considerably large retrospective after this one. I was hoping to do the Amblimation one.
Where I have not seen any of the movies in it.
Yeah, I've only seen a handful of movies, so there's going to be a lot of new movies that we're crossing off both of our lists, which is going to be great. I'm really looking forward.
I don't think I've seen any of them. No, I haven't seen any of them. No.
I did want to try and do the Amblimation ones, but we're going to have 2 weeks before we start our new retrospective, and there's 3 Amblimation movies, but we were also going to do Who Framed Roger Rabbit as well. We're going to see what we can do with that. Maybe we might have to run parallel to the retrospective we're doing, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure something out. but the next retrospective is going to be a big one. I would say, in a way, probably equal to our Disney one, maybe, from this other company, if you know what I mean. Sort of the two big.
Oh, in terms of how big, I thought you meant how long
companies.
it was that?
No, the Disney one was immense. Christ almighty, we did 64 videos on that, didn't we? But do consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews. I can't talk. Movie reviews, discussions, and live streams. I'll be back tomorrow night, actually, for my review on the new Mission Impossible movie. I'm seeing it tomorrow night. I think I'll get in it with Simon Pegg. Well, he's not on the review with me. I don't know him personally, but
he's going to be there too.
I think I get back at maybe like 10 p.m. So it'll be a late stream tomorrow night, and it probably won't be a very long video. I just want to get my immediate thoughts out on the film. And then I will be live again on Thursday night reviewing Rogue One with JX Editor. So hopefully that doesn't blow up into another massive argument that goes on for 45 minutes. But we will see. It'll be fun to talk about that with him. And I'm really looking forward to watching Rogue One again, especially having watched two phenomenal seasons.
I wouldn't be looking forward to watching Rogue One ever.
Nah, well, we've got two phenomenal seasons of Andor now. Which
are they good, though?
Yes, they
Doesn't
are.
it fuck with the lore?
No. Not really. No, it's really, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Some of the best TV I've seen in a long time.
Where's it set? Because I don't follow any Disney Star Wars.
It leads straight into Rogue One, which itself leads straight into A New Hope.
Rogue One was shit.
Well, I'm hoping, because now I've seen 2 seasons of Andor, I'm going to be watching it with a fresh pair of eyes. It's going to give new context to certain things. It's going to have, hopefully, more emotional weight to it, having seen what all these characters have gone through beforehand. I'm looking forward to rewatching it again. I am. I can't lie. So we'll be talking about that on Thursday. JDC said, is it going to be the Disney remakes? No.
Of course.
No.
Of course. Every single one.
We have talked about doing that as a retrospective, but that's going to be a retrospective for when all the good stuff's dried up and we just...
I will just cry the whole time. We'll be like, why are we here?
We're just absolute masochists. Just
because that would include... I mean, the only one I can think of which I wouldn't... Well, I say wouldn't mind going back. I won't ever go back to, but that I would actually be kind of like, this isn't the worst, would be Cinderella, and that's it.
Well, the thing is how far do you go back to...
Well, actually depends. Do you count this as... Would you count this in it? Well, you wouldn't. It's not really a remake, but Christopher Robin, that was good. I like that.
Well, the thing is, as well, is like, how far do you go back to talk about all these? Because there was that 90s Jungle Book movie, which was released either by Disney or one of their, subsidiary companies. There was the 101 Dalmatians movie with Glenn Close from the 90s, and then you had 102 Dalmatians. Where do you draw the line with this? Would you count the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie as a live-action remake?
But again, shit.
But then you'd want to do that for a Tim Burton retrospective, and it's like, it's difficult. It's really, really difficult. So, but no, that's not going to be our next retrospective, thank Christ. So, but we will announce it. We'll probably announce it next week, I think. We'll make people wait for a little bit, I think. We'll make them wait. So thank you to everyone who's tuned in tonight, commented along as always. Thank you for keeping the conversation going. I hope you're all doing well, and we will catch you guys on the next video. Take care, everyone.